Okay, now the first thing you're going to do is I threaded on about just a comfortable amount of thread on my needle. I think it's like about 3 feet long. You take your thread and you just tie a knot, just a simple knot, and so you could tie it to this ring. So just a simple knot on this ring. And then the first thing we're going to do is make a ring of seed beads in here. See this green ring of seed beads? We're going to start with that. So we're going to do this ring of seed beads inside of our circle. And for this, we're going to need to do 39 seed beads in here. Okay? So I got my knot, I have my string, my needle. I'm going to pick up 2 11-ohs, pull them to the end of my thread, and now I'm going to, my thread is behind my ring. So now I'm just going to take my needle and go up my little seed bead like that. And then I'm going to pull. And if they do that, it's okay. Just when you pull your thread, it'll put them close together. So you should have this. Now, this one is sitting a little weird, but when we finish, when we finish up this ring and go through it, it'll fix it and it'll lay right. So now we're going to pick up, now our thread again is at the back of our ring. We're going to pick up another 11-oh, let it fall to the end of our thread, and then we're going to come around and go back up this little seed bead like that. Now you'll know when you're going in your seed bead the wrong way, when it's not sitting the way it should. See how it's sitting like that with the hole facing up and down? If you had gone through that 11-oh the incorrect way, it would not be sitting like that. I think it would be like side to side. So on goes another needle. And the great thing about this stitch is you do not have to be an expert. It's very easy to get the hang of, and there's a lot of videos. I know Potomac has a lot of different videos on different stitches, and this is one of them. So there we go. And then I'm moving kind of slow because I'm on camera, but once you get going, it moves really fast. So I have another 11-oh. My thread is behind my ring. Then I'm going to bring my needle around to the front, go through my 11-oh like that, and I'm going to pull. And if it's too far, just maneuver that like that with your thread, and it'll get it close to the other ones. So keep doing that, and remember, you want a total of 39 seed beads around. And I'm going to show you what to do when I'm finishing up this first go round of seed beads. I'm almost done, and I just need to add one more seed bead. So I'm going to pick it up. This is my 39th seed bead. My little tail, I should have cut that. Okay, and then I'm going to go in through my seed bead, and now we're going to go in through our very first one. Then I'm going to go through the bottom, come around and go up this one that I just added. Okay, now I have all of my 39 seed beads there in place. Now sometimes it happens where you have a little bit more space than you want. Just kind of like, you can kind of move them a little bit, kind of like push them together if you have a little bit too much space. But 39 should fit. And you want 39 because that's going to be very important when we start going through these beads again, because we're going to go through them when we add our little middle piece here and we connect this little unit with our little bicone beads. So we do need to have 39 in the inside. Okay, now for the outside, this is going to be a much easier step. The outside, I'm going to do 33 of my Toho Delicas. So for these, I'm going to use some more 11/0s, and I'm going to use two different colors now, and I'm going to use a little bit more of the green as well. Okay, so I am coming out, and when you need to be coming out, go through one of your 11/0s. I will cut my thread in a bit. Okay, now we're ready to do our Toho Delicas on the top. So we're going, again, start with 2, picking up 2. And we're going to go through, you can see where the little threads are, right? We're going to go in through these little spaces. They're in between our threads. So for my first one, I am going to go through, see, here's the first one. I'm going to go in through this one, the second one, from where I am coming out of, okay? So go through it. Now I'm going to bring my thread up over and into my into my Delica. So that sets both of them there. Now coming out, and I'm going to pick up one more, and I'm going to go through my next little open space. Now you're gonna have to use your judgment on this part too. If it looks like that little open space is like under the previous Delica, go in through the next one, because you don't want these to you don't want them close to where they look all warped. Okay, picking up another Toho Delica, I'm going to go in through my next little space here. Whoop. And then up my Delica. So do this all the way around, and you're going to add 33 Delicas all the way around. Finish this up and I will meet you back. Okay, I'm sorry. I said 33 Delicas, I meant 32. 32 Delicas around your ring. Okay, I finished adding my Toho Delicas on the outside, and you need 32, not 33. I know I had said 33 a while ago, but you need 32 of your Toho Delicas. Okay, so I finished adding them. Now I'm going to add this little decorative edge on the outside. So coming out of a Delica, you're going to do 3 11/0s, and I'm using two different colors with my green color in the middle. And I'm just going to go, coming out of this Delica, I'm going to go into my next one. Then I'm going to come out of my next one. And it's only going to decorate it on the outside. It's not supposed to be like a little picot. It's only just like a little decorative edge. So again, coming out of this one, I'm going to go in through this one. And then I'm going to come out of this one. So this is a pretty simple step. You just need to do that all the way around. And go ahead and finish making that little decorative edge around your ring, and then I will show you what to do after that. Now we're going to work on this center unit of our earring. We're going to do a little brick stitching around a 6mm round bead. I'm going to use a pearl, a glass pearl. So I have my, again, my string ready on my needle, and I'm going to go through my pearl, get my, I have a rather long piece of thread because I want to finish this whole unit and then use the same thread to attach it to my ring, okay? And I'll show you more when we get to that point. Okay, so I took my thread and I'm leaving a tail so that I can just hang on to my thread. It's a good size tail. Put my needle in through my bead, and then I'm going to go through it again, and there's a lot of, and I'm going to go through it again, so I'm going to go through it to where there's, see how there's 2 threads here? I'm just going to do 2 threads there and go through it twice here on this side too, so we can have 2 threads there. And there's a lot of videos on brick stitching around a bead, so if you don't like this part the way I'm doing it, there's other videos you can watch that, you know, explain it better. I'm not really gonna go into too much detail explaining it because this tutorial really isn't about the technique of brick stitching around a bead. It's more just about doing these earrings. Okay, so I have all the threads that I need. Now I'm going to pick up 2 11/0s, and just for a number, for your reference, we're going to need 11 11/0s around this bead. So by the time I'm done, I'm going to have 11 11/0s, and I'm using Miyuki. So I picked up 2, and I'm going to go under both of my threads. Did I get both? Yeah, I got both. It's gonna pull, and then I'm going to go back through that one, the one closest to my needle. I'm gonna come out. Now I'm going to pick up 1. From here on out, you're just going to pick up 1. I'm going to go under my threads and then back in through that needle. So I'm going to do this all the way around, and I'm going to end up with 11 seed beads. So going and then going back up. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish this, and I'll meet you when I'm almost done, and I'll put the last one in with you. Okay, this is my 11th bead, and I'm already under my threads. Going to pull, and then I'm going to go back up, and I'm going to catch my first bead, and then I'm going to go under my threads, Oh, almost stabbed my finger. I'm going to go under my threads, and then I'm going to pick up that 11th bead again. And yes, I'm in frame. I was kind of worried about that for a minute. Okay, picking up my 11th bead and pull. And see, now they're spaced just nicely. And this is what we should have. Now we're going to put our rondelles. And we're going to move our little 11-ohs for now. We're going to do one more round of 11-ohs after our rondelles. So our rondelles, I'm using the 2x3. And just make sure. We're also going to need 11 rondelles, a row of rondelles, and we're going to need 11 of them. Excuse me. Also, excuse my nails. Sorry about that. Pretty yucky looking, but oh well, sorry. Okay, so I'm picking up 2 rondelles, and I'm going to pick up my second bridge thread, and I'm going to pull, set them down as nice as you can, and then go back up your rondelle closer to your needle and pull. So this part is pretty easy. You're just going to do the same thing that you did with your seed beads. And then my next bridge thread, and then up my rondelle, okay, so I'm putting my rondelles around, and again you're going to end up with 11 rondelles. So go ahead and finish that, and I will meet you back. I have all of my rondelles around a row of rondelles, and I have a total of 11. And by the time we're done, we're going to do one more round of 11 seed beads. A little bit brighter. Okay, I'm going to do one more round of 11 seed beads. Now, by the time we're done with that round of 11 seed beads, it's not going to be a perfect circle. See, it's just not. It's not gonna look perfect. But once you have it inside your ring, with your whole earring done, you're not even going to be able to tell. So if it doesn't look perfect, don't worry, because you're not even, I don't know, it's not gonna show. So that's a great thing about this project. I am not an expert on brick stitch, yet I was able to do these. If you just know the technique, you can make these earrings. So now we're going to start our round of 11-ohs, and this is going to be our last round of beads for this little component. After that, we're going to attach it to our ring. So just like before, we're going to start with 2, and then under our thread, and then up. Now here, I didn't count, or did I? I don't think I counted, because I made a note of what I was going to need, and here's actually my counts. So we're going to need 11 rondelles, 11 11-ohs here, and then out here you're just going to do as many as you need, as many as you think are going to fit, because this part doesn't really matter. The amount of seed beads around this won't really matter now. So just put as many as will look nice. So here I am, and There we go. So just keep going around and finish up. And remember, don't put too many to where they look kind of yucky. If you do by accident, just take one out and then I will meet you back. I finished my little component, and as you can tell, it is not a perfect circle. But like I said, that is not going to matter because you're not even going to be able to tell. Okay, so now we're going to get our ring, and I left my string and my needle on it. I had some left. I'm just going to go ahead and leave this on it. So now we're going to attach this to that. And here's where we're going to use our 4mm bicones. So this is what we're going to do. You should be coming out of a bead like this, okay? Like if you're going to start another row of brick stitch. So be coming out of an 11-0, pick up a bicone, go through an 11-0 seed bead. Now your first one doesn't matter because it's your first one. Now we're going to come back and we're going to go through the seed bead next to it, like that. Okay? So come out of one 11-0, then come back and through the one next to it. And pull. And then go back through your 4mm bead and down. Whoops. Okay, let me just take my thread out so I don't tangle it. I cut too much thread for this. That's okay. Okay, I'm back down my bicone. Now, this is another section, another part where you're going to have to like use a little bit of you're gonna have to think about it a little bit, but not too much. Don't overthink it. And then you're going to go in through the 11-0 next to the one you started. Now it's going to get to a point. Okay, this is easy. It's just that, okay, next to the one you started. Now it's going to get to a point to where when you're coming out of your bicone, you may have 11-0s underneath your bicone that are maybe too far apart. If that's the case, go when you're coming back down, and you need to go in back through your 11-0. But if they're too far apart, go back through the same one. That's not going to matter. So, but in this case, I started here. I was coming out of here. I hope you can see this. I started here, went up my bicone, my 11-0, came back down this 11-0, back down my bicone, and now I'm in the 11-0 after it. Now I'm going to go out through my next 11-0. Coming out of that 11-0, you're going to pick up another bicone. Now this time, you're using these two 11-0s here, right? These two, right above your bicone. You're using those two. Let me get in the middle. These two. You're going to skip this one and go in through the next one. So I'm coming out of these two. Well, I'm using these two. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to go up this one. And then I'm going to come back down the one next to it. Go back in your bicone. And I think my 11-0s under it are still spaced okay. So I'm going to go in through my 11-0. Wait. I'm actually, no. I'm going to go back down the same one I started in, because I think I'm a little bit too far and you don't want a lot of thread showing. So on this part here, when you're coming back down and you're having to go back in through your 11/0s, that part doesn't really matter. So, but now the part that matters are when you're going in through your 11/0s here, which are my green ones, because you're always going to use 2 and you're going to have to skip the one after the 2 you used. Okay, I hope I said that right. So I'm going to go in through my 11/0 after the one I'm coming out of. I'm just going to bring my thread back in on this side, and then I'm going to pick up another bicone, and again I'm using these 2 here. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to go in through the next one. I'm going to come back directly to the one next to the one I was coming out of. And down my bicone. Down my bicone. And whoop. I'm going to go in through the 11/0 next to the one I started from. Okay, so keep doing this all the way around, and see how they looked like they were too close just now, and now look, they're spaced just right. So you are going to end up with 13 bicones all the way around. Again, it doesn't matter here on these 11/0s. If you have to come back down and go through the same one because the bottom ones are too far apart, that's fine. But your row of 11/0s here, which are my green ones, you're going to go in through 2, which I went in through these 2. I would skip this one, and then I'm going to use these 2. Then I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to use these 2, and so forth. If you need to rewind the video, go ahead and do that. But as I said, you will end up with 13 bicones. I already added all of my crystals here in my ring. And what you need to do is when you add your last one, and you're coming out of one of your 11/0s here, go back into your other 11/0, go back up your bicone, through the 11/0, and through this 8/0 Delica. Okay, so you know, just make your way back up. Just go through one of your 11/0s, through your bicone. It doesn't matter which one really, but just make sure you can go through one of your 11/0s, through your bicone, and make your way up to where you're coming out of one of your Delicas. So from here, I am going to add another bicone, an 11/0, and another bicone. And I'm going to go, okay, it's been a while since, okay, no. From my 8 Delica, I'm going to go through this 11/0 here. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my bicone, my 11/0, and another bicone, and I'm going to go back down into this 11/0 here, and then down my Delica, and kind of fix those, and then going to go back up the Delica next to it, through the 11/0, and through the bicone, and make sure, I'm just going to make sure I'm going through everything. All right, and then I'm going to go through this 11/0 here. Now, I have also gotten ready, because you are going to need another little component. This is the top component here, this one here. This is an 8mm bead, round bead. You are going to do 1 round of 11 brick stitch around the bead, and you're going to need 14 11-ohs. Then you're going to follow that with 13 8-ohs. So you're going to have a row of 11 brick stitch and 8 brick stitch. You're going to end up with 14 11-ohs and then 13 8-ohs. So I have that ready already. Now back to my ring here. I am going to get 2 11-ohs. Then I'm going to go up, and see, I already have my thread up here ready for my ear wire and my wire guard. So I'm going to see if I can, and it looks like I can. I have 2 11-ohs, as I said, and I'm going to go through this 8-oh. Down this 8-oh here next to it. We're connecting. Ooh, I have made quite a mess. Okay. We're just connecting. And then figure out what I did here. All right. I have way too many strings and I'm confusing myself. Okay. There we go. And then this string is from my tail and I actually don't need it, so I'm just gonna trim this down a little bit more. Okay. Now I'm going to go back here and then I'm going to pick up, okay, so that's what I did there, so you can see better what I did. And I'm coming out of this 8-oh here next to the one I went in through. I'm going to pick up 2 more 11-ohs. Then I'm going to go through this 11-oh here. And then I'm going to go back down this bicone, down this 11-oh and 8mm bead, because I just want to connect everything together. And then I'm going to go back up this 8mm bead, up the 11-oh, up the bicone. I don't want to do it too much on the front because I don't want my threads to show. Then I'm going to go back through this 11-oh, through these 2 11-ohs here, up this 8-oh, and then down the 8-oh again, and the 11-ohs after it, and then this 11-oh here again, and the middle one. And then we're just going to pull snug, fix everything up, and there we have it. It's connected. Now I'm just going to go down this bicone, down the 11-oh, down the 8-oh, but through the back because I don't want my string showing in the front. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to zigzag down all these 8-ohs until I meet this one, and then I'm just going to tie a knot. If you don't want to do that, you can zigzag. You know what? I'm probably not going to do that. I'm just going to zigzag down all of these 8-oh Delicas, and then when I'm about over here, I guess, when I'm about to go into this next one, I'm going to do a knot here in between my 11-0 and my two 11-0s, and then I'll bring my knot into one of my 11-0s. But I'll show you how to do that in a bit anyway. So that's already connected. Now we're going to add here our wire guard and our ear wire. Okay, so I'm going to pick up my wire guard, and then wait, did I use one? Yes, I did. Okay, I wasn't sure if I used one. Then I'm going to go down the other side and see how I'm coming out of this 8-0. I'm going to go down this 8-0, but through the back. Make sure your string does not come out of your wire guard, and that the string is inside it properly. So what I'm going to do to anchor that better, I'm going to go through this 11-0 underneath my 8-0, because I just want to make sure that it's nice and stable. And then I'm going to go up this one after it, and then I'm going to go through everything again, my wire guard, and I should have caught it, but I can still do it. Okay. Down this side, and then down my 8-0. Okay, turn it around. Down this side, down my 8-0. And I'm not going to go through that 11-0 again, because, I mean, you can if you want, but it's kind of difficult. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to go up this 8-0, down this 8-0, and then up this 8-0. I'm going to go through a few of them until I'm then down this one too. And then once I'm like over here, okay, let's just do it. I'm going to go down this one, then this one, and then in between these two 11-0s, I'm going to tie a knot. I have so many strings. Okay, I'm going to tie a knot here in between these two 11-0s. And I already have a bunch of strings going in through there, so. And then I'm going to go through here. Through this one. Now, you don't have to tie your knots like this. This is just how I'm doing it. And then down here, and I'm going to burn my thread now. Well, I'm going to cut it, and then I will burn it off later. Okay, so that's one thread. And then with this string from earlier, I'm going to sew down this 8-0 here, then go back through this 11-0, and then I'm between these two 11-0s, and I'm just gonna catch my thread there, make a loop, and tie a knot. I'm actually bringing it I'm actually going to bring it back in through this one, through this 11 So that's all I'm going to do now. I'm going to finish tying my knots just like that. Let me just fix that here. Okay, I'm going to finish tying my knots by sewing up and down these 8-ohs. And then once I come out of an 8-oh, I'm going to go through my 11-oh and tie knots, catch the threads between these two 11-ohs, bring in my thread through it, and then back down. So I'm just going to zigzag all down my project, tying knots, and I'm going to go ahead and put my ear wire. Oops, I think I opened it wrong. Okay, now I think it's good. Ow. Okay, gonna close it. And I'm just gonna finish tying my knots and we'll be back. Here are my earrings. I'm already done with them. And this is how they look. And if you did this with me, you should have something similar. So, pretty nice. A bit time consuming, I know, but pretty nice. And here's the thing, what you can do is you can make your little brick stitching around the bead units first. Have those ready, that way when you finish, that way when you do your ring, you have these 2 units ready to just attach to them. So that's a tip. You can do that. And also what you can do is, see, and this is how they look, really pretty. This is another pair that I made earlier. Now I noticed with these, look at my top unit. It's pretty straight, right? Now this one, they kind of cupped a bit. I don't know if you can see that, but just a tiny bit. I don't know if it was my tension or if, see, this bead is super shiny and very slippery. I don't know if it was because of that, or maybe I should have added another 8-oh. I'm not sure. I know these didn't do that, but these beads weren't as shiny and slippery as these. I don't really know what it was, but either way, this doesn't bother me. When you put them on, I mean, your eyes are just gonna go to this, well, to all of it really, but this is such a beautiful component that honestly, that doesn't matter. And it didn't bother me, but I'm just giving you a heads up anyway. So this is what you should have, something like this. I hope you enjoyed making these, and thank you very much for watching.